Hi, everybody. This is the last of our videos for this session, and it's a very important one. This one, the information here is going to protect you from the bad guys, and there's a lot of bad guys out on the internet. Okay, maybe you know who this guy is. Probably not. Probably not. Okay, basically, he was associated with this woman here, and he's John Podesta. He was the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton's campaign back exactly 4 years ago. He campaigned for president to be president of the United States. And many people believe that the reason that Hillary Clinton is not a president today is because of a problem with the password for John Podesta. Okay, just to give you an idea of how important passwords are. So that's what we're going to talk about today. With your first line of defense against hackers, which is basically just creating a really, really good password. All right? And we can have a joke about it here. Beef stew, probably not a good password. But we're going to talk about how hackers can guess passwords, how they can steal your password, what exactly is a good password, and how to keep passwords safe. Really, really important. Now, just as a quick exercise here, just write down what you think a good password might be, okay? Something, not a real password, just sort of write down what I think a good password is, okay? We'll come back to it later. And so just write down something good. And this is an interesting thing to see how easy it is to get people to reveal their passwords. We don't have time to click on it right now, but if you open up the PDF for this slideshow and you click on this link right here, you'll see how amazing people can be tricked into revealing their passwords on national TV. Amazing, amazing, okay? Okay, good. Now some of you know what this is. This is a rather old game system. It's a Sony PlayStation 3 back in 2006. And what they could do is take them, because inside the PlayStation is a very, very powerful computer. And when you take 200 of them, link them together, you get an extremely powerful computer, which then can be used to do what? They can use it to guess passwords. It can guess millions of passwords in just a couple of seconds. So, not good. Now, this was done back in 2008. It's 12 years ago. You can imagine what they're doing nowadays. It's just absolutely amazing. So hackers can test millions of passwords nowadays in just a couple of seconds. So what that means for us is that we have to be really careful. We have to don't use simple words, names, or dates. That's too easy for the bad guys to guess. You need to have something more complicated. That would be better. Okay, simple passwords invite trouble, and we don't want any trouble. Now, if you have time, click on this link here. This will take you to a website and shows you some Adobe. Adobe is a big company that produces graphical software. They were broken into a couple of years ago, and they took all the passwords and put them out on the internet. And you can see what people are actually using for the passwords. And you can see there's like 10,000 people who used Peanut. The name Peanut as a password, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's crazy. People are just too weird. I mean, that's inviting trouble. So be real careful about that. Now, no matter how careful you are, we don't have any control over the companies that we deal with. And every year, companies get broken into. In fact, in the last few years, these companies here were broken into. Look at that, 500 million accounts were broken into at Yahoo. I was one of those. Okay, I had a Yahoo mail account, and it was broken into. And so fortunately, I didn't use it for much, so there's no real information that was got out there. But you got to be real careful. We don't know. Any of our companies that we deal with could be broken into. We just have no control over that. So what does that mean for us is that basically when we have to have different passwords for all your different accounts. You can't use the same password for all your accounts because that would mean that if one company was broken into, the bad guys can now get into every one of your accounts. So use different passwords for different accounts, okay? Also use combinations of words, numbers, and symbols. It's as random as possible, and make it long so people can't guess it. Now here's a group of passwords here. What do you think would be the easiest one for people to guess? Okay, the easiest one will be obviously the first one there, okay? This basically, that could be the name of a patent and the year someone graduated or whatever. Kind of easy to guess, even though it's very long. It could be easy to guess. Now, my favorite password in this group actually is the last one here. And actually, this one is very easy to remember. We can remember it pretty easily. How? Well, watch. Okay. Here it is there. We can do this. You can look and you just use the first letter of each word. And this works really nicely for creating really good passwords that are easy to remember. Okay. So think of a long a book sentence or a song lyric or something, especially one that has numbers involved, and just take the first letter of each word and you can create a really nice, easy to remember password, which nobody will be able to guess. Now, the experts, this is not me. These are the experts. The experts say that you have at least 14 characters, right? And then you have random letters and numbers and symbols, and that you have a different password for each account, and that you change the password regularly, and you never write down the password. Okay. Now, this is really, really hard. Okay. Now they've softened it up a little bit. They've realized that when you force people to change the password every 3 months, like they do it here at the college, what happens is people start putting in very simple passwords because they just get tired of putting in complicated ones. So the experts nowadays say, yeah, change it when you think you need to, but most of the times you don't need to. But even then, even with this, it's still hard to keep track of this. I mean, I have 60 or 70 different accounts, and if I followed all of this, it'd be crazy. I could not write down passwords. How could I possibly keep track of them? Well, one thing you can do, you can write them down, but you don't have to write them down exactly correct, okay? You can leave out some characters or put some nonsense characters in there. So if the bad guys get a hold of your passwords, they still can't get into your accounts. Now, one way not to write down a password is this, okay? Now, how many people do this? They put the passwords on a little yellow sticky next to their monitor there, and that's not too good, okay? Especially if you're a government agency in Hawaii and you've invited a camera crew in for a TV news segment, and the TV cameras nowadays are very high resolution, and they can go in there and they can zoom in and see your password. Not good, okay? Not good. Don't put passwords out like that. If you're going to do that, take your password, put it under the keyboard. Just stick it under the keyboard. Then you can always get it if you want to, but the bad guys, if they have me wandering around the office, will not be able to see it. Okay, so be careful about that. Now, a real good thing is to use a password manager program. There's 3 of them out there. They're very highly regarded. I use LastPass myself. It's been recommended by the security experts that I follow. It works really good. Keeps track of passwords. It puts them all the passwords up somewhere in the cloud in the internet, which is kind of a little scary. But you put a really strong password on the account, and nobody can break into it. So, well, as far as we know, there's no 100% absolute confidence about it, but it's just really good, and it's the convenience you get out of it more than justifies the very, very, very slim possibility that there'd be a problem. Okay, so it works really good, and so take advantage of it. It works really nice. Now, the test of password, we're not going to do this right now, but it'd be good to do it if you go into the PDF file for this slideshow and just click on this link here, particularly the one here, grc.com. Go there and you can test your password out. Okay, don't test your real password, but something similar, and you can see how good it is. Now, there's no real exact test for passwords, but this gives you a relative idea of how good your password is. And it'll say, for example, how long it would take for the bad guys to guess your passwords, and you want a password that will take a couple of centuries to guess. I think that'll be long enough to dissuade the bad guys from breaking into your account. Okay, so I just go there and just click into the account, and you can see how it works out. So it's a nice thing to do. Okay, just in summary, at least 14 characters. Okay, now not all your accounts need 14 characters. Okay, some simple accounts where there's no money involved, it's just a simple thing. You're not going to go there too often. Don't need to get that. But if there's anything involving banks, involving money, and your email, definitely a long password. Okay, 14 characters. Random letters and numbers as much as possible. Use a different password for each account. Okay, change the passwords if needed. Okay, if needed, and never write down them exactly. Okay? Yeah, you write them down, but don't do it correctly. Okay, so these are the good things to follow. And this is a real good way to follow. And use a password manager. I highly recommend it. It makes life a lot easier for you. Okay, real good. Now remember, your password is really sometimes your only defense against hackers, and these hackers are very, very smart. And so use a good password. Use good passwords for all your accounts. Okay, bad news here. We've got some homework here. So what you want to do is go to the class website, CSA105.com. Okay, click on the page, Basic Concepts. And on that page, you'll see a link for a quiz. Ooh, that's very simple. Okay, just like 5 questions. Very, very easy to do. So just click on that. Okay, the PDF for this file will be on the website too, CSA105.com. So if you want to take a look at it, refresh your memory before you take the quiz, go to it. All right, so that's it. So get an A on this and start off the semester really well. So that's it, okay? Remember, you got the little quiz, do the quiz, and the discussion. Put the little discussion there about yourself on the Blackboard. So try to get in there and put that discussion on there. Okay, good. That's it. Well, that's the first session. We've finished it. All right, and have a great weekend, and we'll start in again on Tuesday. Okay, see you all then.